Abdul Karim Telgi, the person who did the biggest financial scam of this country. Scam worth 30k crores. And the names of big politicians like Vilas Rao Deshmukh, Sharad Pawar, and even Shagan Bhujbal were included in this scam. And from senior police officials to top IS officers, everyone was arrested. And even common people like you and me were a big part of this scam, knowingly or unknowingly. But the question is, how did it impact our economy? Who were included in this scam? And most important question when it was going on then, why didn't someone take any step to stop it? You will get the answers of all such questions in this video.
पहले भी ये काम होता था, अभी भी हो रहा है, आगे भी होगा। नया कुछ नहीं है, only persons have changed, business is same.
Telecast a narco analysis tape of Abdul Karim Telgi, the main scamster in the Telgi scam. In that narco tape,
स्कैम के लाइसेंस के समय इंडिया ने खुद बयान में कहा है कि उनको उन्हें 10 लाख रुपए दिए।
This story starts in Kanpur of Karnataka, where the second son named Abdul Karim Telgi of a class 4 employee of Indian Railways named Ladsab Telgi. And the family was poor, so they were just surviving somehow. But when Abdul was 7 to 8 years old, his father dies, and when it happens, Abdul, along with his brother, starts selling fruits, but from starting, Abdul had high trust on education. That's why he used to do job in the canteen of Kanpur railway station to bear the expense of his studies. And in 1984, Telgi finishes his education. And then he reached Mumbai for job. And in starting days, he gets a job of salesman in Flix India Ltd, where his salary 3,800 rupees. But the problem was he was not able to do this job. That's why he was fired from the job. After which he starts working as a manager in Kishan Guest House. Now, the year 1987 has come, when Telgi got married. He got married, and his expenses also increased. But it was hard to manage in Mumbai. So Telgi reaches Saudi Arabia where he works for some years, but after some time, he had to come back to India. But this time, Telgi doesn't come empty-handed. He comes with a big business plan. 1980s, this was the time when a lot of people in India wanted to go to Middle East. Why? Because there was employment there, and they were getting good money there. And every year, thousands of people used to go there. But that era was not like current era. At that time, if someone has to go out of India, then it was impossible without the travel agent. And it becomes the business opportunity of Telgi. He opens his shop in Crore market of Mumbai and starts selling people in Middle East countries. But the problem was there was a lot of competition in the market, due to which his company was not growing. And then Telgi understands there is only one way of growing the business. And that method is to get more clients. But how? So look, those who weren't able to work outside because of legal reasons, by sending those people outside. And there was only one method of doing it: document forgery. It was not a big deal for Telgi to make fake documents. And this is how he sent thousands of people outside India illegally. For some coming years, Telgi keeps doing this work. And during this time, he had made a lot of money. But gradually, the complaints of fake documents started increasing. And see, this is international matter. So whenever it happens, police starts taking action immediately. At that time, there were some people whose immigration didn't get cleared, but Telgi had taken full amount from them. And when they complained, then the name of Telgi came out. And in 1993, police arrest Telgi. Charge sheet gets filed and Telgi was sent to the jail. And this was the place from where his life was about to change forever. When When Telgi reaches the jail, he meets a person named Ratan Soni who was getting the punishment because of making fake revenue stamps. Ratan Soni and Telgi, both of them, were kept in single cell, and this was the time when they become deep friends. And now the time had come when Soni tells Telgi a new business plan. Such a business plan which had a lot of money. That plan was about stamp paper forgery. Those who don't know for them, let me explain a little. In India, lots of properties get sold, daily agreements take place, a lot of court orders get passed. In order to validate all them legally, a government document is required, which is attached with the document of that particular event, and it's called stamp paper, which looks like this. And these stamp papers are of different denominations. They are of 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 50 rupees, 100 rupees, and even 500 and 1,000 rupees. And whenever someone buys these stamp papers and attach them with the documents, then the government charges tax, and this tax is called stamp duty. Now pay attention. These stamp papers are of 3 types. First, if judicial stamp papers. This paper is used to file a case or take the legal proceedings further in the court. Then come the non-judicial stamp papers. These papers are used to make affidavit, agreements, sale deed, and power of attorney. And at last, there are special adhesive stamp paper. These papers are non-judicial stamp papers that look like postal stamp that are printed in different denominations. And these papers are used where a transaction of significant amount takes place. Now the thing is, only government-authorized vendors are allowed to sell these stamp papers. It's not that any common person came, printed these stamp papers, and started selling them. When both of them are in jail, Soni explains Telgi that the stamp paper department is the most backward department of our country, where no one pays attention to, and he had contact details of police, government officers, and politicians, so there were no chance of getting caught. Now the year was 1994, when Telgi and Soni come out of the jail and start a new business. But there was a problem. A license from Superintendent of Stamp was required to sell these stamp papers, and no one could get this license easily. And moreover, there was a huge waiting list for this license. So, in order to solve this problem, they reach out to Anil Goat. At that time, Goat was an influential journalist, and his aim was to join the politics anyhow. And later he enters the politics and becomes the MLA 2 times. If you see, the accusations were that he approached Vilas Rao Deshmukh, the revenue minister of Congress at that time, to give the license to Telgi, after which Deshmukh gives Telgi the license. And this is just the allegation. The matter is going on in the court, and there is no verdict till date. Here, Telgi gets the actual help from R.L. Mopalwar. He was the superintendent of stamps. In the statement that Telgi has given, he said, because of the favor of Mopalwar, he didn't get just license, rather he got such license, because of which he could sell any type of license. And only a few people used to get this permission. And gradually, as Mopalwar and Telgi started getting close, Telgi came to know more about this business. That how stamps are made, how they're transported, which companies buy stamps in bulk. Telgi started getting to know all these things. Now, on one hand, where Telgi's business started flourishing, whereas on the other hand, Mopalwar's pocket started getting money. But the expiry date of their friendship comes very soon. In year 1995, Mopalwar and Telgi had a dispute, and Mopalwar cancels the license of Telgi and also files a complaint against him. After which Telgi's name started coming in front in multiple fake stamp cases. But here, nothing happens with Telgi, because by this time, Telgi has made so much money that he had bought every person in the system from top to bottom. So, there were a lot of complaints, but no one was able to do anything against Telgi. And when all this was going on, Telgi understands one thing, that he is playing a very small game. Actually, This game is very big. From where Telgi makes a plan. Such a plan which no one had ever imagined. Come on, let's understand this plan one by one. First plan was establishing multiple companies. Telgi's license had gotten cancelled, so he made multiple companies in multiple cities. Here are the names of some companies. You can see Citizen Enterprise, Prime Services, Unique Enterprises, Kaveri Enterprises. He opened many such companies in Indore, Bangalore, Pune, and Delhi. And every company was a proprietorship, means that there was a single owner of the company. And the owner was the person who had the license of selling the stamp paper in that particular city. And the person who used to manage that company was the Telgi's guy. For example, the office of Citizen Enterprises gets opened in 4th Block, Jayanagar, Bangalore. Now here, the lease agreement, vendor license, and even the payment collection, all the things take place on the name of Syed Mohiuddin. But the person who was running this company was the elder brother of Telgi, Abdul Rahim, and some of his special person, that included people like Badruddin Vittal Marty Sungar and Salik Wazir. And Telgi's job was to supervise the workings of every company he created. Now, let's come to the step 2, which was increasing the production capacity. Telgi created so many companies, but in order to provide these companies fake stamp papers, there must be the sufficient supply. So the old stamp papers that they were using, that method was not going to work here. The need was to increase the production, and with a good quality so that no one knows how all this is happening. In order to do it, Telgi reaches out to India's security press of Nashik, the printing machine which is used to print the stamp papers. When those machines gets old, then this press used to dismantle and auction them. And at that time, Ganga Prakash was the deputy general manager of ISP, with whom Telgi starts a good friendship, and in this friendship he used to make his company's owners buy the parts of the dismantles machines, after which they used to assemble these printing machines and started printing fake stamp papers. Even all the other things that Telgi needed to print the stamp papers like inks, bond papers, dye, plates, production schedules. He used to get all these things very easily, but it was not that easy to make money by selling stamp papers. Because, in order to make money, they will have to sell in bulk volumes. And obviously, Telgi can't do this work alone. That's why he takes his next step, which takes us on the step 3, which is team building. In order to run a stamp paper company, professionally a good team was required. And he hired more than 300 MBA graduates, not just a few, so that he can do this work. And the hiring process gets started, for which he starts advertising in the name of different companies in the newspapers, like the name of the company in Indore was Malva Enterprises, for which an ad was published on January 28th and February 1st, 2000, for sales executives and telephone operators. And as soon the candidate was selected, he used to get trained for 1 week, where he was given the knowledge about different stamp papers, and the job of sales executives was to go to different companies and get the order by showing the vendor license of Jagjivan Yadav, proprietor of Malva Enterprises. The sales executives of the company didn't know that they are selling fake stamp papers. Now, why will other companies buy stamp papers from Malva Enterprises? Because Malva Enterprises used to give stamp papers in bulk, that too at discounted rates of the market, which no other vendor was giving in the market. So the operating model of every company was same. The production of these stamp papers used to take place in Nashik, Mumbai, and Pune, after which these papers were sent to the different companies of Telgi, after which all the sales executives used to send these fake stamp papers to the clients. Even Telgi, with the help of his network, had convinced thousands of vendors to buy stamp papers from him. And because Telgi was selling at lowest rates, so every vendor was ready to buy. And while doing all these things, Telgi had made so much money that he was bathing in the money. He even spent 93 lakhs rupees on a dancer. But gradually, times started changing. And by seeing Telgi, other small scammers started entering the business. And police used to take bribe from Telgi regularly. But when he spends so much money on bar dancer, now the police wanted share and profit, not bribe. And Telgi didn't agree with it. That's why this story takes a new turn from here, and Telgi becomes the center point of the story. Now, Telgi had denied from giving share and profit. After which, the news of catching fake stamp papers and special adhesive stamp papers started coming out. And because Telgi was the biggest player of this game, so every investigation was done on him. But for a very long time, police didn't get any evidence against Telgi. It was because he was not the owner of any company. Similarly, 2 cases got files in Indore and Pune. The stamp papers found in both cases were sent to the India security press, after which it was turned out that both stamp papers were printed from same machine. Till here, the matter was in control. But when media got this news, the system of whole country gets shaken. The orders comes from high authorities and the police is asked to collect the evidences against Telgi. And Mr. Jayant M. Tanekar had a big role behind all this. He was the person who exposed the whole scam in front of the world. And later on, he helps to get Telgi arrested. Jayant and Telgi, both of them were from same village. But where the family of Telgi was not so good, Tanekar's family was good enough. But when Tanekar notices that Telgi is making so much money in some years, he gets skeptical that there is something wrong. But in starting, when Tanekar takes the evidences to the police deny him to help. Because from top to the bottom, every policeman was under the control of Telgi. He was failing here. That's why he reaches out to the opposition leader, Mr. B.S. Yediyurappa, and when the opposition party highlights this matter in the media, then it had become very important to take action on this matter. Because till now, it was a normal matter, but now, it had become a political matter. And to do this, a special investigation team named Stamp It was made. This team starts arresting every person of Telgi. But Telgi was still missing. But a few days later, Tanekar gives police a tip that Telgi is about to come in Ajmer Sharif. It was November 7, 2001. ACP of Bengaluru Police, G.A. Bawa, reaches Ajmer Sharif and Telgi was arrested. Charge sheet gets filed, and the trial starts. But by this time, the jail had become the new house of Telgi, and he was still operating his whole business from there. And, all these things were done in a very systematic way, which we will understand further. After getting arrested in 2001, Telgi was kept in the central jail of Bengaluru. But from there also, Telgi was operating his whole business with a mobile. And it was possible because the superintendent of the jail, Mr. Jaisimha, and the assistant superintendent, Mr. Nanjappa, were helping Telgi doing all this. Even Telgi was kept in a special hospital room in the jail. And that room was modified in such a way that Telgi can operate his whole business from there. Till here, everything was going well. But the actual twist comes in the story when the news of murder case comes out. This murder was of Christopher Body, the driver of Telgi, who stole 180,000 rupees from the Chennai office of Telgi and said that this money got stolen. When the people of Telgi come to know about this, they kidnap him from his village and takes him to Telgi's flat, where he is beaten brutally, and he dies. And when it happens, they throw his dead body in Mahim Creek. When it happened, police got the body. The post-mortem was also done. But because they had no identification, police disposed off that body. And after 9 months of this incident, when an investigation of fake stamp papers was going on, then Telgi's person gives the confession about Christopher. And then this matter comes out. And on October 27, 2022, Maharashtra police asks for Telgi's custody from the central jail of Bangalore Jail, after which a special investigation team is created. In both cases, stamp paper case and Christopher's murder case, were reinvestigated. The matter was same here. Who would have done this investigation? Police. And the whole police department was under the control of Telgi. So if they had done investigation, Telgi wouldn't have gone to the jail. That's why in year 2003 Anna Hajar files a PL, public interest litigation in this case. And then CBI takes over this case. After which this investigation gets speed, and then, one by one, policemen and politicians were arrested. And then the business of fake stamp papers of Telgi gets shut down. But many revelations related to this case begin then when CBI investigates this case further. Multiple cases gets filed against Telgi, and in multiple cases, he gets punishment. And this whole scam was worth 30k crores. But the police and politicians involved in this scam, all the people who were with Telgi, got very less punishment. But Telgi had a habit of keeping the backup of the backup. That's why whenever he used to talk with these people, he used to record the moments when the police and politicians used to ask him for money. And when CBI investigates this case, further they gets the recording of more than 100 hours, in which all the policemen and politicians asking Telgi for bribe. But there was a huge problem, that this scam was so big and was going on since last 9 years, then a decision of not nullifying all the stamp papers used for agreements was taken. Because if it had happened, then all the agreements of last 9 years would have had zero value. And to find out which stamp paper is genuine and which stamp paper is fake, it was practically impossible for the government. Then October 23, 2017, Abdul Karim Telgi takes his last breath in Victoria Hospital in police custody. Police says that Telgi has meningitis and diabetes, due to which he had multiple organ failure and he died. But here, some people believe that Telgi's death was not a natural death. Rather, he was murdered because of multiple political reasons. So no one knows what the truth is. The matter is, this one person did a scam of 30k crores who used to sell fruits on a railway station. Our whole team worked very hard to make this video. If you enjoyed this video, then please like this video and subscribe the channel.